What's happening, guys? Dan here, DD Speed Shop. So we're back in the garage, working on the Chevelle here. So where we left it last, the floors were kind of in. We just put the trunk floor in. It's kind of just self-tappered in the front and clamped in the back. So I think we're doing pretty good. The next thing I want to tackle, we're going to start taking apart one side at a time. So I'm real happy with, if you look in there, the trunk floor to the existing wheel tubs. Honestly, this thing you could almost get away with using the existing inner wheel tubs, but while we're at it, we might as well. They're kind of rotted. They actually, if the trunk floor is here, the wheel tubs actually go past it, and they're rotted down there. So you have to weld a strip in and all sorts of ugliness. So there's no point in there. So we're going to change it all. We have all the parts. Let's make it happen. What I was doing this morning is a little bit of screwing around and just working on the door fitment. We had a bit of a situation where the rocker was sticking out past where the door was. So all I did was I cut out the post, I moved it over maybe a ½ inch or so, and kind of gave an ugly tack weld. But it all kind of makes sense now when I was looking at it. The inner structure of the door actually kicks over. You can show on that side it's not all rotted, but it kind of right where it's all torched, it goes down and actually has like a quite like an angle over. This one was missing. What I had is I had it lined up right with the piece, but really there's an angle, so we have to build that. So I kind of eyeballed it over till it was about right. We'll have to hammer that back into place, but now the door shuts good, and you can see we're right in line with the rocker. So it's pretty good. It's a little bit gappy there, which we can adjust, but it's not a bad fitment. Like the door opens and fits. That's pretty good considering how this thing was hacked apart. This side, we actually have the same issue, not as bad, but it's in the front of the door. So I think we can just deal with that up front. But same thing, this one closes nice now as well. So once we got the structure and everything's bolted down, we're okay. Now, what I've learned in the past is even though I'm happy with this, I'm not going to solid weld anything just yet. The car still wants to move and all that sort of stuff. So I want to get that kind of, in there. Because if we weld it all solid, and let's say the doors are good, but now we run into problems further back or whatever, then we got issues. So this thing fit pretty decent to start. So I want to cut the quarters off. We'll start working on wheel tubs. We'll get the quarters fit in. And then I probably pick up the doors tomorrow from Ridge, and then we should probably start fitting it with the new doors versus the old ones. We'll see. The old doors are actually, they fit nice, but we did buy the new ones. They weren't even that much money. And this thing's going to be like a sea of new black sheet metal. Like it's going to be ridiculous. Fenders, hood, doors, quarters, wheel tubs, floor pans. I think we'll use the trunk lid. So it'll be the trunk lid and the roof skins. Danielle in the back.
Do we have more confidence in these panels than the Camaro panels?
I believe they're the same brand. So when I do put the quarters on, we'll talk about it. I'm going to join them differently. I'm not going to cut the whole panel off. Well, I am going to cut the whole panel off, but I'm not going to go into the trunk. I'm probably going to join them on the trunk, the leading edge, around there type thing. That'll just, that way it keeps the trunk gap accurate. That's my plan anyway. We'll see. Maybe these pans are a little bit better. Maybe they're worse.
We'll say the trunk and the floor pan were like magnifique.
The floor pans have been perfect, and they are the same brand. So fingers crossed. But yeah, that's that. I'm going to give this a bit more of a weld in here. Just, kind of hold it a little bit more because we're going to take all the quarter and all that off. It's giving a little bit of strength, not a whole lot. And I might even, we have this little piece of angle. I might just take a piece of angle and ugly weld from here to here just to kind of hold it first instead of putting this in. It will need this brace put in properly, but we'll do that again a little further down the road. So,
when you're like actually welding everything in?
When it's kind of ready to be finish welded in.
Because once that's in, that like determines exactly how it's going to sit.
It becomes very hard to move it after, Versus a little piece of angle, cut it in half and we can do whatever we have to do. So trying to work smarter, not harder. But yeah, I'll weld those up, get this cut up, and we'll come back when we're just kind of blindly cutting out the quarter panel and getting to the wheel tubs.
Smarter, not harder. Is this DD Speed Shop?
Well, I say that, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so now we're gonna kind of blindly cut this quarter. Ultimately, it'll probably just go up, around, something like that, and then down, just so we can get to the wheel tubs, kind of get those all cut out and start working. Now, the wheel tubs, they're two-piece, and the quarter, it all has to fit together, so you can't just weld the wheel tub in, the inner, then the outer, then the quarter. They all have to jive. But to start, we'll just kind of blindly cut, get in there, and we'll see what we're kind of working with. This is always the nerve-wracking part. I've already ruined it, but if you had a car that wasn't too bad, just a little bit of rust, all of a sudden it becomes a project. This is opening a can of worms. Not bad. Kind of some manageable size bits. We were cutting out the floors. People were giving attitude about, well, not attitude, but, using a fancy plasma cutter. The amount of people that were telling me I should get a plasma cutter and use it, so the zip disc was huge. And you buy a Chinese one off Amazon for $600, and all of a sudden you're Boyd Coddington. Okay, that's not bad. Just pull this off. Okay, so for anyone freaks out, I have a replacement side glass, so if it got a little nicky with the sparks, so I'll probably have to go a little bit higher, but you have to be aware of what panel you're going to use. So we got full GM quarters, which we should actually pull a box, but wrap around the back, all the way up the, the sail panel, up around here, and we'll wrap around the door. So we're probably not going to use the whole thing, but if you bought half skins or full skins, you don't want to cut too much metal away. So now you can kind of see in here exactly what we're working with. So the wheel tubs are two-piece. They're joined right in the center here. The outer is junk. Now, it's joined up in here in this structure, so that's going to be a bit of a hassle to get out. And then there's going to be a trunk brace right there, which we have to get out as well. Now, the reason that you have to, there should be some sort of a locating thing or something to kind of center these. But ultimately, the front of this tub will actually fit inside the rocker, which of course has been deleted on the rotten side, and it kind of do its thing, and it all just kind of follows. So it's really not too bad. The reason you want to set it all together is because if you put the tubs in, this opening right here, actually the quarter panel wraps around it, and then you weld the quarter panel to the tub along there. So obviously if the quarter panel or the wheel tub aren't jiving together, it's really going to be a fitment issue, and you can't really play with it because the wheel has to be centered in the quarter, right? Otherwise it'll look goofy. So a little bit of screwing around to be done, but not too bad. So I wonder what we should do here. Figure how much of the quarter panel we want to use and go from there. So maybe we'll get the new parts set up and see what we're working with. So that's the new panel. An eyeball, it looks pretty well close. Has to go forward a little bit. This is what I'm talking about when you want to wrap it together. These have to go together. Now this panel obviously is meant to join the sail panel around behind the drip rail, which is ugly, in the window channel and in the trunk. We're not going to do any of that. I'm going to cut it right here on the edge. So all we'll have to do is body work the trunk line. So we'll weld it across there. I don't know what we'll do up here. Probably go up over a little, and we'll probably join it a little lower. That way we won't have to do anything with the window because that fit fine. And then we'll have a body seam there, but we won't have to work anything behind the drip rail, which is also a hassle. So by doing that, so I'm a big believer in, and I didn't do it on the Camaro, and it was kind of my own fault, using as much of the car as you can. Now when I say that, it's not like you use every little square inch of good metal, but use as much of the car kind of structure. So you can see what the panel does, but if we cut right on this ridge here, you know, just like an 1/8 inch over, then you know the trunk lid is going to stay fitting because we're not changing that. We leave, you know, this section up here, we jog across here, and we go across here. Well, you know, this isn't going to change. This is all factory good metal. You know, the window's still going to fit, no problem. That's good. You don't have to get in behind the drip rail. Ugly job. We can wrap around here, no big deal. And then same thing in the door jamb. We can kind of hide in the door jamb because no one's going to really see that. So that worked out pretty good. This is a pretty decent little panel here. Put this out here while I step on it. Okay, so that's a win, and you can see, like, obviously it has that whole piece inside. So I don't know what I'll do here. The other side's very rotten in this section. This one's actually okay, so I'll probably end up cutting it and joining it, you know, around here, or maybe even inside, but probably right on this edge here. And
not use the inner part there.
Yeah, just use like whatever.
This fits really nicely.
The car fits good. I mean, why change it, right? This is a little goofy here. We can always just kind of pie cut, move that over. We're dealing with aftermarket parts, and we're dealing with the 70 Chevelle. Yes, Danielle.
So why would you choose the panel instead of the skins?
Well, the skin probably would join about here or something like that, which is fine. I've done lots of skins, but now you have this long seam weld the whole way across, and you got to be really careful to make sure you don't warp the panel, and then ultimately you have a long section of bodywork where we're still going to have to bodywork it, but it's going to be on the edge, which is going to be a lot stronger. Then we're only going to have this little section of bodywork here. This we probably won't do anything with, and then everything else will be in the door jamb.
So line-wise with bodywork, would you say it's kind of easier to hide bad bodywork with like a curvature, like because there's some movement there, or would you notice it?
I'm no expert at that. I just try and avoid bodywork in general.
Internet will tell.
On an edge is the way to go. Yeah, ask Bad Chad. I'm not. I try and avoid that because I hate it. But we want the panel on, and that's what'll happen. So now I think we'll go ahead and try and get in here. We're just going to ugly cut the wheel tub out, which actually has a fair bit of structure in it. This is the problem. It actually is not. It's almost not rotten enough. Now it's a hassle to take out, but we'll start cutting and get in there. See what we end up with. Okay, so a lot of screwing around later, but we got it all out. So I just like to kind of blindly cut all the bits and pieces off. So this is the back section, so I just kind of cut around, and then you're left with a big piece around here. You got to drill out all the spot welds. You know, same thing around the front. This is a little package tray brace, so you know, cut it all out. So one piece at a time, and then same thing where the wheel well wraps around. Drill all that out. So again, the wheel wells are 2 pieces, and they go on the inside. So it's actually gonna be 3 layers thick. This being the outside layer. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll have to put it in there. This does need a little bit of repair in here, so we'll have to kind of figure that out. I might just do it on the other side and kind of cheat it a little bit. I mean, it's kind of whatever. It is what it is. That whole bottom piece I want to make sure is nice and strong, so it might be a little not factory, but it'll be good. So we'll do that. Then I believe it probably plug welds in to the floor itself, maybe. I'm not really too sure, but that's kind of that. So let's get the wheel tubs fitting. And if we can get that, then we can kind of cut a bunch more of the quarter off and see if we can just get the quarter on there temporarily and see what it looks like. Then take a break and think on it. Because once it's welded, it's a little more permanent. Okay, so I kind of cheated a little bit. Well, when I was looking these up, you can buy them inner outers or you can buy them together. So I just took, and it was cheaper to buy them separate. It was the opposite of buying the floor pan. If you bought it without the rockers, it was more money. If you buy the wheel tubs together, it was more money and separate. So they have little alignment kind of holes. I don't know if it shows anyways, but there's that one. There's one in the middle that's behind everything, and then one at the front. So I put them together and just gave them a quick tack weld. Nothing's permanent. We have one clamp holding it. So we're doing pretty good here. I think the front has to go up just a scotch here to make it right in line, but we're pretty close here. You can see at the back. Is there a light around here? Oh, here it is. At the back of this little brace, we're almost touching. And at the front, there's just a small little gap. So if we raise the front up, we'll be there. The front, it's contacting this section of the rocker, so we just got to kind of pie cut that a little bit. And that should allow the front to go up just a little bit. Now, obviously, I've had to do lots of little bits of trimming here and there to make it work. When they stamp these, obviously the excess is just miscellaneous. But I think that's a pretty good fitment. We're pretty close, so I'm just going to give this another little zip cut, knock it up, see if I can put a couple of screws in it just to hold it. Because we only have one clamp holding it, so it's like if you breathe on it wrong, it'll come apart, which is very frustrating. Please don't. But I think it's where it wants to be. We compared it to like this little panel here. So what way did this go? I just get confused. That's like, yeah, so this is how it went. So when I kind of size it up, it looks like it's about the same spot where the brace is and all that, so that should be just fine. So I'm gonna lose my mind here real quick, maybe do a quick brooming, but if we can get that last little section cut out, I think we can get it right where we want it, screw it in, then maybe we'll just do a quick test fit. Well, we'll start working on the quarter panel, just give it a blind kind of fitment and see if it's where it wants to be, and if it is, then we can burn all this in. Because again, you want to make sure it's all fit, take the quarter off, weld it all in. It's a lot easier to weld in here when there's not a quarter panel on it than when there is. But yeah, no, it's...
You did a good job there. It's nice and centered around the wheel and stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it looks pretty good. I had to bend out the rocker a little bit just to kind of get it in there and stuff, but all...
But that kind of stuff is sort of to be expected, right? Like
nothing really fits, unfortunately.
Especially because all the cars shift a little differently when they like are sitting and stuff.
Well, I
right?
doubt that you couldn't find 270 Chevelles that have the exact same measurements on it anyways. They're all a crapshoot, so... Take it all apart, do the best you can, and then this is all just miscellaneous old stamping. I've always heard, who knows, but like this is probably the same stamping from the 70s when they were making these panels, and now they're 50 years old and probably wore out and not quite as sharp and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, no, it's coming together. I mean, it's been a lot of work, and ultimately it can't really be seen yet. But once you have a quarter panel on it, then you'll really be after it. Also, I found a set of 275 tires. I kind of want to just go change the tires. on these rims, so it looks like a cool tire on the back instead of these front runners. You know, important part of the day. But I'll do a little bit more trimming, then we'll come back and we're going to blaze out the quarter, and we'll probably trim that one, just literally lap it over it, a couple of screws, but it'll look like a car. And let's be honest, it's all for the thumbnail, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it's time to start ruining a brand new panel. I put in the trunk drop. Actually, it fit real nice, so that'll fit in kind of perfect. Just a bunch of self-tappers holding it. So that's all dialed. It had a little bit of a tight kind of fit back there. I had to give it a bit of a clamping, but like I said, everything's just kind of sheet metal screwed together. So now we're going to see if we can make the other quarter panel fit. So that's always a nerve-wracking kind of situation. So I'm going to kind of just blindly cut a bunch of this garbage off and leave like a little bit of a lip for it to kind of grab. I'll probably go on the shy side just a little, but hopefully it'll all work out here. Adjust your ears, prepare for chaos. Should be pretty good. Oh. Why'd someone store those there? Well, we're on our way to something. I think what I'm going to do is join it alongside of the window. So I'm going to cut some of that out as well. But we might, I don't know how far I should go. The panel does go a ways up though. Oh yeah, it goes all the way to the top, so I should be okay. Okay, so this is the only part I really care about, because I'm going to try and use as much of this original door jamb as I can. So we'll cut it pretty straight. So a lot of these GMs, hang on. This is what I like. Tripods are the same way. So the factory jam, it's double wall, which, oh, my phone's ringing. Hang on, we'll be right back. Okay, so right back. The jam is like all double wall, which the other piece may be, but if you cut the other quarter, which actually I guess we can look at, I doubt it is, you can butt them up and then you can weld to it, and you're welding to this back piece as well as here, and it gives it like it's a nice piece to weld to. And then, you know, we'll have to body work this little seam right down here for sure. I'm probably gonna cut this section out, not right this second. We can kind of pull these little tabs off and roll the window down and just hang the new quarter over it. But that's kind of a nice little piece. Let's see what the new quarter actually looks like. Yeah, no, it's just a single stamping. So I'm gonna cut this one right down there right now. And we'll see how it comes around here. I'm sure it'll be just fine. And hey, at the end of the day, it's just metal, so we can weld it back together if we have to. Use the door jamb or whatever. We may end up using a section of down there, but nothing like ruining a brand new panel. Okay, I need another zip disc.
You know what I didn't realize? That zip discs like shrink as you use them.
Yeah, these ones shrink before your eyes. It's unbelievable how junk they are. An abrasive stone. Okay. So now, what do I want to do? I want to trim off the window and the trunk section.
Do you want me to hold that at all?
Be fine. Fortunately, I'm a righty. Okay. from rolling over. Good?
Yeah.
Wow, these zip discs are junk. You grab me another one? Junk! Should have grabbed 2.
You want me to grab 2?
No, just 1. I needed 2 though. I should have seen it coming. Hopefully, I've eyeball cut it correctly.
I think so.
Do you? Hang on, hold that for 1 second. See what I did on the back here. Oh yeah, you're losing the whole trunk jam. You had it right the first time, Dan. You're a genius.
You are a genius.
Okay. So, oh, I had meant to. How does this thing ever floppy? Pull these out. Can. You gotta hold this or something here. It wants to fall over. Fucking junk, rusty clips. Okay. Come on. See, when you're paying the guy $100 an hour to do this, this is the crap he's doing. These clips are probably valuable to somebody, but they're junk, rusty to me. Man.
Definitely probably is all the little stuff like this that really adds up to the shop hour time, hey?
Oh, it's the endless fitment. Like people think, oh, just hang a quarter panel, weld it on. It's the they don't fit, it's the screwing around, it's the on and off 1,000 times. What is going on here? That really takes your time. Of course, the last one's just being an absolute pain in my butt. Okay. So, hold that down. This might be a bit of a funny overlap. The piece in there. Okay.
Want me to hold it?
Should be good. What are we caught on? Trim the window area. Let's, oh. I guess we gotta decide if we wanna join it there and leave that and split it right there. Probably be the easiest. Just see everything else kind of. Danielle. But actually it looks like it should come into place pretty good. What are we hitting here? Yeah. Okay, that's obvious. It's gonna sit on top, so it's not gonna look proper or nothing. So this is This is in our way. I bet just right down there is probably the easiest. Then I'll sneak across. Just put some pressure on it to hold it. I get my grinder. I like to put a self-tapper in this thing just so I can visualize it. Okay, I got it. Okay. Caught on the back here. Something. It's not bad. But still gotta go ahead. Just a scotch. Which is good. You can see we're just barely not fitting this wheel tub, right? But something is bunged up on the back. What is it? Might just be the existing quarter structure. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to trim up a little bit on the back here, and we'll come back and fit it one more time.
Yeah.
We're doing on the gap here. Not bad. So, I mean, the front of the wheel arch fits perfect, right? I don't know if you can see in there, but it's bang on. There's no issues there. All the way down here, we got a pretty decent gap. Now, obviously, it's not going to fit perfect because it's lapping, sitting on top of the other panel. And then something is just not happy right here, which might just be the panel has to kind of stretch down around. Oh, there we go. That is, oh, yeah,
Wow.
that's the ticket. So it has to, the panel has to just slide, kind of tilt forward a little, but not bad, not too bad. So need a little bit of that, but again, being lapping on top of everything is kind of fighting us. So it fits one way, it doesn't fit the other, but it's not bad. I'm gonna play with it just a little bit more, have to come on and off 50 more times. And unfortunately, it's a big quarter panel. This is just, oh, it's hitting all my self-tappers. That's the problem. Okay, I'll start clamping it back here and we'll see if we can get fitting up front. Okay, so the panel is roughly fit. I mean, I know it looks like crap, but we're close enough that I'm happy with the way the wheel arch is, so that's good. At the front fits okay. The whole panel has to kind of tilt forward a little bit. There's gonna be a bit of a gap at the rocker. That's no big deal. The back is a little bit on the wrong side, which I've just discovered here. So when I put the trunk drop in, which is what the panel attaches to here on the side. Got the light bulb. I screwed it on where I thought it wanted to be, but see how I have like this kind of thumb width gap? This piece has to move that way a little bit more, which will allow the quarter panel to go over, and as you can see, we're a thumb width away from it being lined up with the trunk, which is kind of eyeballed where I cut it. Now again, there's lots of extra material holding it up and doing all sorts of things, but that's probably the next step. But that'll be like a whole video of now trying to fit it. So quarter will have to come off. We'll take this trunk drop off, slide it over, screw it back in, refit everything back together, and once we're happy with it, then we can take it all off again and then weld on the inside and then on the outside. But realistically, the trunk here, everything looks kind of nice as far as I'm concerned. Like, it looks, everything fits. There's not any big ugly gaps. The gap between the floor and the wheel tub, we can fix that with a couple of self-tappers, and then we'll just weld it up. But yeah, it's really moving along. That actually fit pretty good. These quarters seem to fit a lot better than the Camaro ones so far anyways. So I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for now. We'll call it a video, take a bit of a break, and I'll be back out this afternoon. And yeah, kind of keep on keeping on. But I mean, the wheel arch, like, it lines up with the rocker perfect. Everything drops down. It looks good. Looks stupid with those small tire on it, but no, it's a lot of work, but a little bit more trimming. It'll be minty. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please do me a favor, subscribe below if you wouldn't mind. Leave a comment. We always appreciate reading those, even the nasty ones. They're my favorites. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.